Ladies and gentlemen, they call it January, the first month. Welcome to January. Happy New Year! Every year starts with January. It's time for us all to start another trip around the sun. That's what a year is. Earth does the full trip around the sun in 365 days. January the 1st is the first of those days. January is a time to start new products. New Year's Day is a holiday in most countries too. Now that's slow. Have you heard the phrase slow as molasses in January? January is usually a very cold month. Molasses is a thick syrup. In cold weather, it's even thicker. It won't pour quickly then, so people sometimes say that something is moving as slow as molasses in a cold month. How did January get its name? The ancient Romans had gods for many parts of their lives. The god of beginnings and endings was called Janus. He was also the god of doorways. Janus had two faces. One looked ahead and one looked behind. The first month was named for him, since he looked back at the old year and ahead to the new one. Birthstone. Each month has its own link to it. People who have birthdays in that month call it their birthstone. For January, it's the garnet. Round and round we go. In 1 year, Earth takes 365 days to go around the sun. Other planets take more or less time. The planets closer to the sun take less time. The planets further from the sun take more. 1 year on Jupiter, for example, takes 11.9 of our years on Earth. Our path around the sun is called an orbit. Big January holidays. New Year's Day, January 1st. Put on your party hats and sing. New Year's Day is the first day of the year and the first holiday of the year. New Year's Day begins at midnight. Many people gather with their families for a day of feasting and football. The new press. Every 4 years, a new U.S. president is sworn in on January 20th. On this January day, the new president takes office. This is called inauguration. The new president promises to obey the Constitution to lead the people. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, third Monday. Dr. King led people to call for equal rights in the 1960s. He said that people should protest injustice, but always peacefully. He inspired millions with his words. Sadly, Dr. King was killed in 1968. In his honor, King's birthday is now a national holiday. We remember his life and try to keep doing the work to make all people equal. The biggest college football games are now called bowl games. For a long time, the most important bowl games were played on New Year's Day. Fans would plan a whole day of watching great plays and big games. Now, some games remain on New Year's Day, but the national championship is played later in a month. Fun January days. January has more ways to celebrate than just making snow forts on New Year's Day. Here are some of the unusual holidays you can enjoy in January. National Bubble Bath Day, Dress Up Your Pet Day, Kid Invaders Day, National Popcorn Day, Penguin and Nares Day, National Pie Day, National Chocolate Cake Day, National Kazoo Day. Holidays don't just mean days. You can celebrate for the week too. You can also have fun all month long. Find out more about these ways to enjoy January. Universal Letter Writing Week. Your parents might remember what letters are. Before email and texting took over the world, people used pens to paper to write to each other. This week asked people to try an old-fashioned way again. International Snowmobile Safety Week. Snowmobile fans love to ride fast through deep snow. These action machines thrill thousands of people. This week, the people who make the machines remind riders to be safe in the snow. National Blood Donor Month. A blood donor is a person who gives his or her blood. That blood can then be given to help other people. National Oatmeal Day. What's better when chili hot than a bowl of warm oatmeal? How about 2 bowls of warm oatmeal? National Hobby Month. In the cold of January, many people spend time indoors working on their hobbies. Do you have a hobby? National Braille Literacy Month. Braille is the type of writing that uses raised dots. It lets blind people read books, magazines, and more. The man who invented this writing, Louis Braille, was born in January. National Polka Month. Grab your accordion and swing. Polka is a lovely dance music from Eastern Europe. Play a few polka songs in honor of this musical month. January around the world. Countries around the world celebrate in January. Find these countries on the map. Then read about how people there have fun in January. Independence Days. Many countries make New Year's Day official beginning of their independence. America celebrates on July 4th, but Haiti salute themselves on January 1st. The country of Manin waits until January 4th. Barra de Barbados. The Caribbean island of Barbados used to be a British colony. In 1966, it became independent. This holiday honors the men who led to move toward freedom. Coming of Age Day, Japan. In Japan, a person who turns 20 becomes an adult. This day honors that people and helps them get ready for adult life. Australia Day, Australia. Until 1788, the only people who live in Australia were native people called Aborigines. On January 26 that year, British ships arrived carrying more than 1,000 people. Australia became a colony of Great Britain, but today it is independent. Australians celebrate Australia Day as the day people first came to that land. They also look back on how the new country hurt its original people. January in history. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. This document freed all people who were being held as slaves in the United States. Gold Rush begins. On January 24th, 1848, a man named James Marshall made an amazing discovery. In a creek in northern California, he found gold. Marshall's find kicked off the California Gold Rush. Thousands of people seeking treasure poured into the area from around the world. Just over a year later, enough people have come that California became a state. It's nicknamed the Golden State. Samuel Morse demonstrated his new invention for communicating, the telegraph. Electric signals sent dots and dashes over wires. The dots and dashes, known as Morse code, stood for letters. The first Super Bowl was played in Los Angeles. The Green Bay Packers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 35-10. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was enduring for the 4th term as President of the United States. No one else has ever served, or will even serve for many terms. Elizabeth Blackwell became the first woman doctor in the United States. Today, also the third of all American doctors are women. 7 states first joined the United States in January. Do you live in any of these? If you do, then make sure you say happy birthday to your state. Alaska, Utah, Kansas, New Mexico, Michigan, Connecticut, and Georgia. 1st January birthdays. Sir Isaac Newton. Newton first described many of the most important laws of psychics, which is a part of science about the natural world. One famous story says that he discovered gravity when the apple falls on his head. Benjamin Franklin, an inventor, writer, and leader of the American Revolution. Franklin was an amazing person. He was born in Boston in 1706 and lived until he was 84. Jackie Robinson, the first African American in Major League Baseball, was born in Georgia. He was a star in all sports, but became a legend in one. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, one of the greatest writers of classical music. Mozart was playing piano in public when he was only 6. He was born in Austria in 1756 and wrote hundreds of famous pieces of music. Oprah Winfrey, one of the world's most famous women. She starred on TV, in the movies, and even has her own magazine. Now that's the end of the story. See you there. Bye.